Hey folks, Matt from artoftheimage.com. Kind of an interesting suggestion for you, an interesting answer to a problem, an interesting statement to make for you. I wanted to show you how to achieve perfect focus with any DSLR. And what I mean by this is sometimes I know like your DSLR might front focus a little or back focus a little. Sometimes when you're pairing it with a certain lens it does this and doesn't do it with others. Sometimes it's an aftermarket lens, it's a Tamron, it's a Sigma, whatever. And I know it can be any camera. I know I've had some problems with older Canons doing this, like some of the 40D, sometimes a 5D would do that, things like that. I had a lot of back focus or front focus problems, and that was usually before I think you were able to fine tune them. But sometimes it happens with the Nikon body, sometimes it happens with any of the cameras. And what it comes down to here, what I think is happening for the most part, I've talked to quite a few people about this. We've had this conversation ongoing, photographers sitting around talking about the odd problem they get with the focus and why it's happening and things like this. And I think what has made us think about this is the fact that Micro Four Thirds cameras don't have this problem. When they hit focus, they always hit focus. If the focus is off, they haven't confirmed focus, or it's for another reason. It could be shaky from your settings or it's user error, whatever. But Micro Four Thirds cameras tend to always hit focus perfectly. And the reason for this is that Micro Four Thirds cameras are focusing off the same sensor, the imaging sensor. They don't have two. Most DSLRs have a focusing sensor and an imaging sensor. And this is where the problem becomes, because they're not on the same focal plane, basically, if you want to call it that. You're basically looking at one system, the DSLRs, focusing off their focusing sensor and then relaying that information so the imaging sensor can take the picture. The Micro Four Thirds cameras are focusing and capturing the image on the same sensor. So there's the difference, which is the one variable between the two. The Four Thirds cameras and Micro Four Thirds cameras are nailing focus all the time. We don't have these front focus and back focus issues. The DSLRs sometimes have these focus issues, and the difference is they have the two sensors, an imaging sensor and a focusing sensor. So how do you use that information to make sure your DSLR always hits focus perfectly? Well, use live view. Turn your camera into live view, which some people use that for photos. Most people probably only put it in live view if they're going to take a video. But use live view for your photos. You put it into live view. It takes a little longer to focus. Almost every DSLR I've ever seen does take a little longer to focus in live view, but it's using the imaging sensor at that point. It's not using the focusing sensor. At least that's my understanding. But what I found is when I do this, the photos are always bang on. In other words, I could have a lens that is a little problematic and not always perfectly focused, might be a little front focus, a little back focus, a little out. When I use live view, boom, it's sharp as a tack. My friend Peter Gregg over at Peter Gregg, he does the Better Bounce cards. He has played with this on his 70D, his Canon 70D, and he had the Sigma, what is it, the 18 to 35 millimeter f1.8, I believe it is, the newer f1.8 zoom, and he couldn't get it to be acceptably sharp using it with his 70D until he put it into live view. Once the camera was in live view, every time he took a picture, it was bang on. And this got him to play around with it some more, and he did. And he's experimented this with other cameras now. His friend brought over the Canon 1DX, and they were using, I think it was the 35 millimeter f1.2L, or it was either the, it might have been the 50 f1.2L. Either way, an f1.2L lens, so very, very shallow depth of field. But even his friend was blown away when he showed him the difference in sharpness with the image when you're focusing in live view as opposed to just using the standard AF system where you're not in live view and you're just hitting the trigger to get your focus. So try it out, see what you guys think. Does anybody out there, have you already seen this in real life happening? Like, have you noticed that with your lenses, that you might have a lens that's not perfect but you put it into live view and it's amazing? Or Try it out. Let me know what your results are. Do you have any lenses you're not particularly happy with? Are some of them appear to be front focusing, back focusing? They could be an off-brand lens. Try it out on your camera. Let us know in the comments below. Did it solve your problem? Or, like I said a second ago, if you've already experienced this, let us know in the comments. Tell us your experience with this. Let us know how it has worked for you, or if it hasn't worked for you. If you've tried this and it hasn't made a difference, let us know what the circumstances are there. It's just kind of an interesting occurrence. And it definitely is a neat workaround. If you're in a situation where you can take that little extra time to get that focus, you're going to achieve super critical focus this way. So try it out and see what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com. More articles, more videos. We'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the world of photography, videography, and technology right here at artoftheimage.com. Thanks a lot, folks.